last speaker for session one, and that is Tammy Kruckow. She is a coach, facilitator, and founder at Tammy Kruckow Coaching. She empowers women in agriculture to break through self imposed limiting beliefs, allowing them to take back the reins and gain control of their lives. Today, Tammy is presenting on Take Back the Reins, how to gain more control of your life. Over to you, Tammy.
It's only when you take responsibility for your life you'll discover how truly powerful you are. It's only when you take responsibility for your life that you will discover how truly powerful you are. Let's just pause and let that sink in. Have you ever had a personal experience that's knocked your confidence out of the ballpark? Maybe left you wondering who you are or what you're capable of? Maybe even riddled with self-doubt and lacking self-worth. I found myself in this very position, which has inspired my signature system to empower women in agriculture to take back the reins and gain control of their lives. After starting my business, coaching business in 2020, over 98% of clients, of my female clients, have presented with no confidence, no or little confidence, no self-worth, and lacking and riddled with self-doubt, leaving them to have no direction and motivation in their personal and professional lives. I'll never forget the day where an old friend of mine called, and I knew by the tremble in her voice that she wasn't in a good way. She was at rock bottom in her relationship, and she too had no confidence, no self-worth, and was riddled in self-doubt, causing her to isolate from her friends and family, feeling that she had nowhere else to turn but to call me. But that was the same day that she took responsibility for her decisions and started taking control of her life and taking back the reins. 2 years on, she is now a single mum of two with a great relationship with the father of her kids. She's kicking goals in agriculture and her personal life. She's saying yes to herself and recently winning a prestigious award in agriculture. How good is that? You could say my story is not much different. I remember in 2016, it was Christmas time. I had, it was 2016, it was Christmas time. My husband and I worked and lived on a cattle station at the time, and most of the team had gone home for the wet season. We had some downtime between Christmas and New Year's, and that's when I noticed things weren't right. I had twitches in my body. I had no motivation and no energy, and I was tired all the time. But being in a small town, we were unable to get to the doctors, and I didn't really think that it was an emergency at the time. We were unable to get to the doctors until after New Year's. After having my fasting blood tests, needles had never bothered me before. And it was then I realised that when I was walking back to the car, I felt sick. I felt weak and I felt dizzy. I called my husband in hope, maybe that he would hear that I wasn't feeling 100% and would come and pick me up. But after making the phone call, he was busy. I could hear that he was busy, and I didn't want to be a burden on anyone. So I decided that I was right to drive home. On that drive, I had to turn into the driveway, which means putting your indicator on. I knew I had to put my indicator on, but I had no idea how to do it. And this scared the shit out of me. It was a week later, my husband was going overseas, and we had to go to Darwin for a yellow fever injection. And I was sitting in the car and I thought, playing over in my head what was going on with me, knowing that something wasn't right. And I thought maybe my blood sugars or something was going on. So I went into the doctor myself. And while sitting in that waiting room was the day I thought I was dying. I thought that this was the end. My heart was beating out of control. My arms had twisted and I couldn't straighten them. My world was spinning. It was then, when the doctors couldn't work out what was the matter with me, they called the ambulance. And it was then when the paramedic came in and told me that I was having a panic attack. And to breathe, which I did until I calmed down. It was a sigh of relief knowing what was the matter with me, but it only lasted a second, because I'm the person that likes to be in control, and I thought I was. But my body had said enough is enough, and it had shut down in its tracks. That was hard. Just like the day that I didn't know how to turn my indicator on, I was no longer, for a short period of time, able to work. I didn't know I knew that I had to write an email, or I knew what I had to write, but I just didn't know how to do it. My mind and body were disconnected. So to sum up a little bit of that story is, as I mentioned, I like to be in control of what's going on around me, and I thought I was. But it wasn't until my journey to self-discovery that I realized that I was in control. I was in control of a life that was expected of me. Or it's even more than that, of what I thought was expected of me. But I was working against my values, and I was working against who I truly was as a woman in ag. So you could say 2017, I hit rock bottom as curveballs kept getting thrown harder and harder my way. But I say 2017 was the year I woke up and truly discovered how powerful I am. Which led me to start in 2020, start my coaching journey to be able to empower other women in ag to take control of their lives too. So if you resonate with this, and if you feel compelled to take back the reins and gain control of your life, you too will discover how truly powerful you are.